presents on ESPN+.
Great reception for America's best. Punching between punches and a flush left hand. And here comes Bob. That's it. It's over.
Fighting out of Belfast, Northern Ireland.
Introducing Michael.
To become the man. He wants to be the greatest. Schwartz trying his best. Look at Fury. What unbelievable. This is a master class right now. He's fighting for greatness. He's fighting to define a legacy. And it goes down. Oh, the hook floors him.
Who wants it the most? Who wants it more?
It's over. It's over. Good fight.
Great fight.
Good fight. A beautiful night in Vegas. A night when we will see the man who has claimed the lineal throne of the heavyweight division. Well, the marquee on the Fame Strip is all that ever matters, and tonight's marquee, it is a big one. A city partially built with the bricks of heavyweight history. And now T-Mobile, this palatial arena here, Tyson Fury has been making this his home away from home, Vegas. The man who beat the man who beat the man, going back in time. And it feels like a market correction of the sport, doesn't it, folks? Gone are the years of the Klitschko brothers stomping in Europe, barely getting the attention of American fight fans. Now it's the energy of that guy, a global star, who brings the fight fans from the UK and beyond, and now taking over the American fight scene. Fury is ready for more. Joe Tessitore ringside with you as we get ready for this heavyweight championship fight. Well, remember those years when mainstream sports fans would say, quick, name the heavyweight champion, to try to prove that there wasn't an interest in the game? Those years are gone. This guy, Tyson Fury, has come here and has stamped himself as one of the biggest and most outrageous personalities in all of sports. Then there's the other undefeated heavyweight champion in Deontay Wilder, who has dynamite in his right hand. They put on a great show December 1st of 2018. They've gone on their own paths for a bit, but now widely reported that it is a signed and done deal that come this winter will be the mega event rematch. The Q ratings have gone up. The relevance and awareness of Tyson Fury is now sky high. But both of these fighters, Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, have business to take care of with one last fight before they meet up. And this was what we saw out of Fury here in June as he went Apollo Creed style in a tribute ring walk, a little Living in America, and then he would rock Tom Schwartz with a second round TKO. And now the big undefeated European comes to town this week. And instead of going red, white, and blue, he goes tricolor to celebrate the great culture and heritage of Mexican fighters. Going up against Otto Wallin. And the key phrase you will hear is size relatable. Wallin's a big guy. Tom Schwartz was a big guy. And of course, Deontay Wilder is a big guy. So good preparation for Wilder, but anything can happen in this division. Big men punch big, so it's always dangerous when you're in against anybody, especially an undefeated somebody, which is the case of Otto Wallin. We're about to see this outrageous ring walk by the heavyweight champ, but first, our champs at the desk, led by Max Kellerman.
Thanks, Joe. Look, you saw the graphic, you heard what Joe said, and at this level, you know, heavyweights are dangerous, but Schwartz was not considered dangerous, his last opponent. The opponent tonight, Wallin, is a huge underdog. You mentioned earlier in the show, Andre, that you thought the best Tyson Fury was against Vladimir Klitschko. I thought he's become more dynamic since then, and we saw it against Deontay Wilder. We saw it in his last fight. Maybe we see it again tonight, maybe in the rematch with Wilder. What are your thoughts on the heavyweight champion of the world?
I like the path of Tyson Fury right now. 2.5-year layoff, alcoholism, mental health issues,
drug use, the whole nine. He comes back, 2 tune-up fights, a month apart, jumps in there with Deontay Wilder. I think Tyson Fury has earned the right to do whatever he needs to do to ensure that he's the best version of himself tonight and in the rematch with Wilder.
I don't believe that at all. I really don't believe that at all, man. You get 2 soft touches. 2 soft touches. Come on now, Drayton. Now that wouldn't pass with us. They wouldn't allow us to do that. But you know what? I think honestly, Fury's feeling himself right now. I think this is a promotional thing. You know, they want to build him up to the public. They want to, show his skill set, his personality, and then the big fight that happened.
My man, I know you're not sitting here acting like you fought in the good old days. You, who fought everyone, was an outlier even, several years ago. People were like, look at Tim. He's a throwback. Fighters don't fight everyone in their backyard like Tim Bradley does. They take too many soft touches. You're acting like it's changed.
But Otto Wallin, come on, man. Otto Wallin couldn't find anybody else.
He's right about that one.
Come on.
Mark, meantime, the heavyweight champion of the world, with all this at stake, as much upside as he has, is being trained by a virtual baby in the game, a 26-year-old.
I think you take exception with you calling him a baby virtual or otherwise. As a fighter, Ben Davison knew there were certain things he wouldn't be able to do in the ring. At 24, he was already in the corner of Billy Joe Saunders, middleweight champion, but it wasn't until later that year when he got his big break.
He sat in a coffee shop, 2 girls walked past. He had said, if you get the girls' numbers, then you can be my trainer.
If Ben didn't come back with the 2 girls' numbers, what would have happened?
He wouldn't have been the trainer, and that's for sure.
And I come back with the girls' numbers and he said, job's yours.
That was late 2017. Ben Davison was a little-known 24-year-old trainer from London. Tyson Fury was pushing 400 pounds, in the grip of the suicidal depression and looking to stage a comeback.
There's days when I didn't want to live anymore, So, and I don't need somebody to teach me how to box. I really don't. I don't need a teacher. I need a connection partner. I need somebody who's going to be there and get me out of bed.
Davison considered himself a natural trainer, but his value to Fury had less to do with strategy than empathy.
Going through a tough time myself, what people call depression. No matter what anybody says to you, no matter what goes through your head, no matter what happens in your life at that moment, you're not able to convince yourself that things are going to change for the good.
Depression gave you the insight you needed to train Tyson Fury.
100%. I could understand how he was feeling and how to work with him and how to judge how his mood was and how to be able to read him and understand how to talk to him when he's in those low moods. When he goes on a very low, you have to get on the same level as him and then bring him back up to middle ground, balance him again. When he's very, very high, you have to go very, very high with him, or get on the same level as him, get in the conversation with him, and then try and bring him back down to being balanced. And that's very hard, very hard, very draining, mentally, physically, emotionally.
I don't have any secrets from Ben. Ben probably knows me as much as anybody else knows me.
Without ever actually saying to Tyson, I think that helping him on his journey helped me in my struggles as well.
And there's Ben Davison. Talk about a corner.
4 fights in, they're an improbable duo looking to cap an historic comeback.
Incredible turn of events here in the 12th.
Could anyone else have done that job?
I don't think so. But I'm sure there's other people out there that would say that they could.
2 years removed from their meeting in Marbella, they've learned to ignore the whispers that at 26, Davison's still too young and inexperienced.
I didn't just come back for me. I came back for all those people who were suffering with mental illness, and not just for that. I came back to prove a lot of people wrong about Ben. There wasn't a day went by that everyone told me that this was a mistake. And I still get it today. Ben knows nothing. Why are you training with him?
What do you tell people?
I tell people to go get f***ed. Excuse my French.
Fury asked him not just to train him, but to move in. He needed a guy with no family, no responsibilities. And in case you're wondering, if Fury beats Wilder next February, Ben would become the youngest trainer ever of a heavyweight champion. Youngest, as best we could tell, was Kevin Rooney, who was 30 when Tyson won in '86, when guys were tough, Tim.
And by the way, Kevin Rooney was, a lot of people were criticizing Tyson at the time. You don't need a young guy like this. You need an established trainer, until he started slipping. And everyone said, where's Kevin Rooney? Meantime, there's Joey Gamache. That's Wallin's trainer. We know Joey Gamache. He was an excellent fighter. And we're going to find out more about him and Wallin coming right up. And there's the challenger, an unlikely challenger. I guess so was Ingemar Johansson, the Swede with the big right hand that won by knockout. But he's even a bigger long shot here, Otto Wallin. Mark, he's trained by a familiar face to boxing fans, a belt holder himself once upon a time, Joey Gamache.
Otto Wallin grew up in Sweden, trained in Denmark, but a couple of years ago, when Gamache decided to move back to the States, there was never a question that Otto would come right back with him. Here's why.
February 26, 2000, you suffered one of the most infamous knockouts in boxing history. What do you remember about that night with Arturo Gatti?
Well, I remember it was a bad night, that's for sure. Arturo could always punch, and hey, listen, he was just too big and strong for me that night, and that's boxing.
What did the doctors tell you?
Well, they just said, hey, you were lucky, you could have got killed in there, and I knew it was over. They wouldn't have let me fight anymore, even if I had wanted to, but I just knew it would come to an end with that kind of knockout, and I said it's over.
Joey Gamache loved a game that didn't always love him back, but it was the only game he knew, and by 2013, he found himself training fighters in Denmark.
Working the footwork, side to side, moving, that's it. That's where I met Otto, and that was the biggest talent that I had saw there.
He told me that I could be a world champion. He liked me, and he liked my work ethic. I really liked that if I had a question, he would really break it down and really show me and go over it.
Listen, your hands are too fast for him. He's got to get set.
He's got a good jab, he's a good body puncher, good defense, good footwork. I mean, those are important tools in this game.
What did you tell him when you were offered this Tyson Fury fight?
Everybody's beatable. There's holes in his games, that he gets away with things that he shouldn't get away with, and we have to be that person that takes it away from him.
Otto was a 25-1 underdog last I checked. Where is Fury vulnerable?
Well, I feel that mentally he's vulnerable too, because, hey, listen, he's come back from those struggles, and to be honest with you, I'm not sure that he's 100% back either.
Going back to the Gatti fight, the heartbreak, the controversy, would a victory here make it somehow better?
Yeah, I think all that would help. I mean, I'm over the Gatti loss. Hey, the first for a long time, many years, that really affected me. Tougher than I even want to talk about. This victory here would really make it that much better.
Wallin has skills and nothing to lose. The question is, at 25 or 30-1, what constitutes a win? If he loses like Tom Schwartz, he disappears. But if he exposes something in Fury, if he puts up a memorable fight, he kind of wins. He'll get another shot on a very lucrative stage.
Anything that Wallin does where he's not simply routed is a plus. He's not considered one of the best 10, 20, maybe 30 fighters in the world, but he is undefeated. He has a good amateur background. And without further ado, the heavyweight championship of the world.
Well, fans, before we bring out our fighters for the main event at this time, we'd like to ask you to rise for the singing of the national anthems. We begin with the national anthem of the challenger from Sweden. Please welcome our vocalist hailing from the same town as the challenger. He is the singer, songwriter, and recording artist. Please welcome Joakim Grisberg.
Du gamla, du fria, du fjällhöga nord. Du tysta, du glädjerika sköna. Jag hälsar dig värnaste land upp på jord. Din sol, din himmel, dina ängder gröna. Din sol, din himmel, dina ängder gröna. Du tronar på minnen från fornstora dagar. Då ärat ditt namn flöt över jorden. Jag vet att du är och förblir vad du var. Ja, jag vill leva, jag vill dö i Norden. Ja, jag vill leva, jag vill dö i Norden. Let's go, let's go!
And now we present the national anthem of the UK, and to lead us, please welcome to the microphone international entertainer, musician, and recording artist, Danny Walton.
Good evening, Vegas. This is for the Gypsy King. God save our gracious Queen. Long live our noble Queen. God save the Queen. Send her victorious, happy and glorious, long to reign over us. God save the Queen. The Tyson Fury.
And now we present the U.S. national anthem. Please welcome to the microphone at this time the outstanding Grammy-nominated recording artist and acclaimed entertainer. Please welcome Clint Holmes.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
The pageantry and anticipation of a heavyweight championship fight. There's nothing more to do than for big men to throw punches at each other now. That'll happen when we return.
One call, that's all. There is no way I could have done this on my own without Gruber Law.
and Fury, the ultimate personality, goes from serious with the black robe to Apollo Creed.
It was an event, not put on a show, and I wanted it to be that way. I always wanted to come out and do that, but I just needed an event, a good place to do it, and I thought Las Vegas was the opportunity to showcase that entrance. And it was I kept it under wraps because I had the black robe on, and I walked out to different music for a minute, and then bam, come on, living in America, and I was dressed as Apollo Creed, and we had the girls dancing and the hat and everything, so it was a really good one for me, memorable.
And what will he do as a showman here? T-Mobile Arena, Joe Tessitore with you ringside. And you know who else is ringside? Plenty of celebs and boxing royalty, like Jose Ramirez, the now unified junior welterweight champion. Vince Vaughn is a huge boxing fan. He's also a boxing manager. He manages fighters. There's the best fighter in the world, according to most. Terrence Bud Crawford, the welterweight champion, is here. As is a great Mexican action fighter, the 130-pound champion, Miguel Berchelt. Vegas comedians always like to come out ringside. There's Fluffy. Gabriel Iglesias is here. A guy who many feel is the next great one, Shakur Stevenson, the American Olympian who will fight for a title. Hey, Big Blue Nation, UK, a lot to celebrate today as Terrence Clark, the #4 recruit in the country, committed to John Calipari, who's here in Vegas to see the Gypsy King. And Game of Thrones, Theon Greyjoy, actor Alfie Allen from Game of Thrones sitting ringside. But the throne that counts most of all is to be the lineal heavyweight champion. And this man is challenging to sit on that throne. Otto Wallin from Sweden, who's 20-0. You know, in this business, you will often find yourself sitting opposite many big underdog fighters, guys who know they're outclassed or trying to climb a mountain too steep. That is not how you feel. That is not the case when you visit with Otto this week. He is confident. He has put in tremendous work for this fight. He has been sparring absolute top opposition for a long time, including world champions. He had a fight scheduled this summer. It fell out, so he had extra time to prep. From Sweden, and yes, you'd have to connect the dots perhaps a little too far to get to the great Swedish champ Ingemar Johansson in sizing up Otto. This guy's a little more deliberate, a little more basic, but he says that's what he will lean on, being solid, doing what he does well. Tyson Fury, with great respect for Mexican fighters and the plight of Mexican Americans. So when he had a chance to headline this tradition-rich date on the boxing calendar, he took on the attitude that, hey, if Canelo can't deliver, let me deliver to these fans. And he wants to celebrate the great culture and great contributions of Mexicans to the fight game. So Mexican Independence Day weekend, here he goes to do that. And as he does it, you will see him pass by some of the greats, like Pepino Cuevas, as he wants to honor him tonight. Or Marco Antonio Barrera, as you see his image passing by the lineal champion. You can't talk Barrera without mentioning, of course, the great Eric Morales. Yuri Boy Campus is one of those who he sits and stops by the image by, as the Serape adorned the tricolor and the Gypsy King being an international star. Of course, for so many years, this weekend headlined by the great Mexicans. Marquez being honored by Fury here tonight at T-Mobile. Chavez, years ago, got this tradition started. As the Gypsy King has had a lot of fun dubbing himself as El Rey de los Gitanos. And he is ready to put on a show again.
The way I box, my style, I think it's kryptonite for anybody.
I believe that
that Tyson Fury is the best heavyweight in the world is because no one possesses the skills that Tyson Fury has.
TKO victory! He's a showstopper.
Always reminding everybody to never forget this is the entertainment business, prize fighting. So just a few months removed from going all in on Rocky's Apollo Creed. Now it's El Grito, the boxing-infused Mexican independence celebration by way of Tyson Fury. Will you look at the production here?
Oh, that's awesome.
In a lighted Mexican cultured float with the tricolor proudly everywhere, the mariachi band, and wearing a sombrero. As she says, El Rey, the king. A 6'9" Irish traveler gypsy who is honoring everything about the Mexican fight game there is to honor. Outrageous ring walk that is now over 5 minutes long. Kisses to the crowd as only Tyson Fury can do it, stepping over the top rope. The 6'9" undefeated lineal heavyweight champion of the world. And opposite him was Otto Wallin, patiently waiting 5 minutes and 12 seconds to fight for the title. So here we go, the heavyweight championship. And here's Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Arum's Top Rank Incorporated, in association with Frank Warren's Queensberry Promotions, presents the featured bout of the evening, brought to you by Geico. This bout is sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, the chairman, Anthony Marnell III, our judges at ringside, Tim Cheatham, Eric Cheek, and Don Trella. All right, fans, here we go. 12 rounds of boxing for the lineal heavyweight championship of the world. And now, ladies and gentlemen, in attendance, boxing fans joining us around the world on ESPN Plus and across the UK on BT Sport, live from the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, it's time for the main event of the evening. Introducing you first, the challenger, fighting out of the blue corner, standing at 6 feet 5.5 inches, presented in association with Salida Promotions, entering the ring wearing black trunks with blue and gold trim. Fighting out of New York City by way of Sundsvall, Sweden, he weighed in at 236 pounds. He is undefeated in his campaign in the ring with a record of 20 wins, no losses, 1 no contest, with 13 wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight, in his second U.S. appearance, here is the WBA European Champion and the #4 world-ranked heavyweight contender, introducing the undefeated challenger, Otto Wallin. And his opponent across the ring, the defending champion, fighting out of the red corner, standing at 6 feet 9 inches, representing Queensberry Promotions and MTK Global. Wearing white trunks with red and green trim, fighting out of and representing Manchester, England. He weighed in at a ready 254.4 pounds. He also is undefeated in his campaign with a record of 28 wins, no losses, 1 draw, with 20 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is the popular former unified heavyweight world champion, tonight making the 5th defense of his current title. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the acclaimed and undefeated, the reigning and defending lineal heavyweight champion of the world, introducing El Rey de los Gitanos, the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury. And now introducing our referee in charge, now to give instructions, Tony Weeks.
Okay, here we go. Okay, gentlemen, you both received your instructions in the dressing room. Okay? On the belt line is okay. On the belt line is okay. I want a good, clean fight. Obey my commands at all times. Above all, protect yourselves at all times. Let's go.
Tyson Fury said to us just the other day that my God-given ability is almost unfair. For a guy of my size to be able to move the way I do, it defies reality. We saw that in June, all that incredible movement from him, and then the ability to turn it into offense and dismiss Tom Schwartz quickly. What do you expect we see tonight?
Well, for me, I think Tyson Fury needs some rounds. You know, he's only been a round and a half since the Deontay Wilder fight. And I think he's going to take his time tonight and box from the outside, and then eventually step inside and try to take it to Wallin, and probably try to go for the knockout, probably second half of the fight.
Otto Wallin, who has overcome grief this year, is very close to his dad, got him started in the fight game. His father passed away this past spring. Family and friends have made the trip over to Vegas from Sweden. 35 family members in from Sweden to support him, and they were very vocal, sitting up close at the weigh-in yesterday. But these fans, whether it's the UK fans who travel so well and love to come to Fury fight weekends stateside, or the American fans who have taken to the heavyweight champion, they were roaring for him when he made that ring entrance.
I want the fans at home to know that Tyson Fury has a 7-inch reach advantage. That's a big reach advantage going into a heavyweight championship fight.
85 inches of reach from Fury on that 6'9" frame.
I'm talking about the lineal championship.
There's that jab out there. See his ability to probe as well as snap with it.
Wow.
You see the issues of Wallin trying to close the gap. There he comes with a left hand.
That's the shot right there.
I got you. Let me step
that
back,
Tyson Fury has to be very careful.
Well, here's the thing about Fury tonight. After all the pageantry, he's not only got to win tonight, but he's got to look good doing it. He doesn't want to show any vulnerability because the world is watching and Deontay Wilder's watching. For
grab his hand.
His opponent,
I got you. Let me go. Step back.
Otto Wallin, he's got to embody his nickname. He's got to be all in tonight, and all he has to do, and that's a big all, but he just has to win. Tyson Fury has to look good while he tries to win.
Well, there's two ways that Wallin can do this. He can either stay on the outside and try to lure in Tyson Fury and set traps for Tyson Fury and make him pay when he makes mistakes, or he can get inside and work the body and slow down Fury and take that reach advantage away. And that's seemingly what he's doing right now. He wants to get inside.
Come on, hands free, hands free. Stop, stop, I got you, stop, stop.
I like the fact that Wallin is not a deer in the headlights. He's putting it on the line. He's pressing the issue. He's making Tyson Fury think, and he's making Tyson Fury work. Trust me, Fury's thinking a lot more in this first round than he anticipated.
Let me just put it this way. He's not Tom Schwartz.
Exactly.
No.
So a decent opening round for the challenger, Otto Wallin. Told you his father died unexpectedly this spring. He's dedicated tonight in his career to the man who influenced him.
I got into boxing when I was 15. I started, but I had done some training with my father and brothers when I was a kid. My father used to box and my brother too. My biggest influence in life, of course, my family, my father. I had been in Denmark on a training camp and I was heading home to Sweden. And I stopped at my brother's in Stockholm. And the same day I was gonna head home to Sundsvall and stay with my father. But then in the morning we found out that he had passed away. Very unexpectedly from a heart attack. Yeah, I want to do this for my father, and we were looking forward to this moment together. We both felt that it was gonna happen, and it's too bad it can't be here, but
fights on. 28 years old, undefeated. He's never taken on a challenge even remotely close to this. Coming here to Vegas to face the wildly skilled, undefeated heavyweight champion Tyson Fury. Round number 2 here.
See how Wallin, he's under his feet. You know, his legs are good. He's always on balance. You know, hand placement is great. His hands are up. He's feigning every time he comes in, giving different looks in the front to Tyson Fury.
Well, Ben Davison, the trainer for Tyson Fury, has great respect for what Wallin can offer up tonight. He says he thinks Otto will make Tyson think, that he's going to force Tyson to have to find range. And they feel, listen, give a good effort, but also give great prep for Deontay Wilder. Remember the mega fight, the mega rematch of the 2 undefeated heavyweight champions is set for this winter. It's been widely reported. It is talked about often, and both guys have to get through a fight to reach it. And what an event that will be. The build-up to Fury Wilder 2, if they can get there. Let's check in with Bernardo.
Joey Gamache told me that Otto Wallin is staying calm and he's happy about that. He wants him to continue moving his feet and not stay static in one place. The most important thing is I want him to continue attacking the body because Fury's open.
He would have much better chance if he's able to do that. Easier said than done, and there comes some danger in closing that gap, as he does there with a left hand.
Good body shot from Wallin.
He's doing a good job. He got a great game plan right now. Everything is going to the chest of Tyson Fury and the body, which will slow down. It will show up. That work will show up later in the fight for Wallin.
Team Wallin kind of let the cat out of the bag in the fighter meeting. They kind of alluded to wanting to go to the body and the chest of Tyson Fury and then try to go to the head as the fight progresses. He's doing that right now.
Executing on that plan. Also showing himself, as you mentioned, Tim, to be mentally composed in this kind of a spot. Tries to turn the tables on Fury now, as he has Fury in that neutral corner. And then Fury at range comes off the ropes, sweeping with a wide shot as Fury goes southpaw.
And that wide shot hurt Wallin. He hasn't thrown a punch since. He put his guards up right away. His legs are a little unstable. He's still in recovery mode at the moment.
Doesn't take much when it's coming from that man. One shot can change everything with a punch from Fury.
Here we go. As a challenger, this is when you really see if you really come here to win, when you get hit. Tyson Fury hadn't really hit Wallin up until this point. He just got hit, so we're going to see what Wallin is made of on the inside.
Intriguing second round as Wallin continued to employ the strategy that works, but Fury had his moment. End of 2 here in Vegas.
As the rounds go on, you're going to start landing more of them, yeah?
Fury right now is finally finding his range and tempo. And Otto Wallin, what did he do? He pulled straight back. And what did Fury do? He followed him out with a nice looping shot, caught him right on the chin. That buzzed him. Here's the end of the round here. as Wallin tries to step in, lunges forward, and what does Fury does? Timed him with a nice right hand as he was pulling back. Great shot by Tyson Fury.
Yeah? Just keep those backs. It's nice, good stuff.
Okay.
Been all right? Good. Patience, patience.
Let's go.
That's the 26-year-old trainer, Ben Davison, one of the rising stars in all of boxing, the trainer of Tyson Fury. There's a certain confidence and maturity Ben Davison has, and they have a dynamic relationship. Round number 3 here, heavyweight championship fight. Thrilled you're with us here on ESPN+. Joe Tessitore, Tim Bradley, Andre Ward ringside with you.
Tess, I'm learning that age doesn't define a person at all, any more than race or gender. You know, you can learn a lot from, you know, a younger person. I've learned a lot from my daughter, and she's going to be 15 years old soon.
That is the case with Ben Davison as we have gotten to know him in recent years and marveled at his boxing IQ. Ooh. Trying to land that right uppercut as Wallin was coming forward that time.
This is the telltale sign that Wallin is here to win, is that every time he gets hit with a hard shot, he comes back with ferocity. He's not laying back. He's not looking for a place to fall. He's trying to get his back. He's trying to get that shot back from Tyson Fury. If Tyson Fury is successful tonight, he's going to have to earn it.
You know, that sounds like such a basic concept to put forth, like he's here to win. Like, what else would he be? But in this game, you can break a man's will very, very early, and that's not always the case. But that's why we talked about the confidence of Wallin, that it wasn't just talk. When you sit with this big underdog, it's different, and you know it.
I asked Wallin, I said, do you have what it takes? Do you have what it takes to fight back when you start getting hit and to be on this level and at this stage? And I loved his response. He said, listen, it's just in me. I know it's in me. I love that response from Wallin.
You know, think about a guy from Sweden who's never fought on this stage, and he said to us, he turned to us the other day, and he said, listen, I look at the MGM Grand, and you know, that's where the fight was stationed this week. All the events were over there. He says, they have that giant marquee here on the Vegas Strip, and his face and his name is on it next to Tyson Fury. He goes, it's not surreal. Everybody says, is it surreal? Is it beyond your belief? It's not. It's not for me. That was a sign. But there are levels to this game, skill levels that start to define themselves, and Fury is as skilled as anyone.
He got to choose his spots, though, wisely. You know, you got to know when to fight and when not to. And I'm talking about Otto Wallin, because Fury can be setting traps for him right now, looking to time him on the way in.
Stop, I got you.
Not only can he, I think it's exactly what he wants to do.
That's what he wants. He wants to alarm in.
That he wants to get rounds in, that he wants to get work, laying traps, setting traps, when eventually you have the mega fight rematch with a guy that throws dynamite right hands like Deontay Wilder.
Which you can't take a whole lot of risk with.
As Fury found out. And there's a cut now. There's a cut. We will look at the replay and check as to how that came about. But Tyson Fury has blood streaming down the right side of his face. Just on the corner of the right brow of Fury. You'll see the stream of blood.
Stop. Come on.
Don't keep rubbing it. Relax. Gum shield out.
You take my blood, man.
Right.
That is a bad gash.
Keep switched on the boxing nicely. It's a cut, I know, but focus on what you're doing, yeah? Yeah? Okay, forget about the cut for a minute. Don't keep dabbing it.
Yeah.
He's going to start coming now. Use that to play onto our advantage, okay? Stick to your boxing. Don't think about rushing it.
Accidental, we're looking at it on the tapes. Close your eyes.
Keep focused on winning the round. Don't try and bang him out. Anything silly, don't panic, okay? Good stuff.
Look at that left hand that landed flush from Otto Wallin. Now we have to find out, Bernardo Osuna will be on this, how the commission saw that. But it is clear as day on our replay that it was a clean left hand that opened up that cut. What does that mean? And what's the difference between a clash and a left hand? If he can't continue and it's caused by a punch, you have a new heavyweight champion. Let's check in with Bernardo. Bernardo, what did you find out?
Bobby Bennett is looking at the replay, and they determined that it was a left punch that caused a cut over the eye. The same replay we were looking at is what they were looking at, and it was clear. As soon as the punch hit him and the glove came off, the cut was open and the blood started to flow.
So a left hand by Otto Wallin opens up that huge gash, and now there has to be a sense of urgency. There's danger because that is a big cut. And if the ringside physician and the ref consult and the referee says this cannot continue, that is a TKO victory for Otto Wallin.
Yes, it is. It's dangerous territory. Right now, I would tell my fighter right now, Tyson Fury, you got to find a way to knock this guy out of here. Get this guy up out of here right now because that cut is really bad. And I don't want them to stop the match.
This is why you can't just look at records. You can't just assume because you've never heard of a fighter that it's a foregone conclusion he's going to get knocked out in a few rounds. You have to always leave room for a fighter believing in himself and having the night of his life on any given night.
Anything can happen when you have big men in the ring. Anything. This division and the history of it is filled with shocking upsets.
This is not a video game. This is a real life sport.
That's right.
And it's not scripted, Joe.
Nope. The real drama inside that chamber of truth. 24 by 24.
Deontay Wilder wasn't watching before. I'm sure somebody's texter called his phone and said, turn this fight on now.
Turn it on now, right? He's cut, and it's a bad cut. And the fight could be stopped.
And Wallin has to target it.
I don't think Fury needs to get out of character and do anything crazy, but he's got to slowly open up his offense and try to start putting the type of punches on Wallin that could either get him out of there or cause, the referee to jump in there, because that's a bad cut and it's getting in his eye. And Tony Weeks is a great referee and he's keeping an eye on that.
Yeah, they have to worry that they don't have an over-anxious ringside physician as well who consults with Tony Weeks and says, I don't like what I'm seeing. I don't want it to continue. The reason why you often see concern with a gash like that is if that thing starts getting towards the bone, that's when a doctor will get in there and say, hey, there's great concern here. Also, if his vision is impaired, where the doctor says, I don't like what I'm seeing, I'm very worried about the condition of the eye.
Because Fury keeps swiping at it. I've been there before and I know what he's going through right now.
Nice shot right there by Otto Wallin. Right to the chest of Tyson Fury.
All right, so we will listen in and see how they manage this cut.
Shield. Good. Taylor, you do his gum shield for me.
Yeah. You got 2 fucking cuts. Come here. Yeah. Well, that accidental, yeah.
Headbutt, yeah.
Let me work, Tyson. You need to keep the distance.
Have a drink. Jorge, let me talk, Jorge. Jorge, let me speak. When he's backing up, those throwaway shots are working, yeah? Keep the feints and the tempo on him. But when you're inside, when you're inside, chip away at his body, make him work, yeah? Lean on him. Stick to your boxing, he's working nicely, okay? He's walking onto the shots.
Go a little bit, go.
Just stay calm. No panic, no panic, no stress.
This is the first cut that Tyson Fury's been dealing with since 2010. Our ace reporter, Bernardo Osuna. Bernardo, I want to bring you into the conversation here because during that exchange with Ben Davison, the trainer, and Tyson Fury, the lineal champ, I heard Tyson Fury said it was an accidental clash of heads. Does he realize that that was caused from a punch and that he could lose by TKO if it worsens? Does he assume it was from a clash, or does he know it's from a punch?
I think Tyson Fury is assuming that it was from a clash of heads. Earlier on in that last round, he was yelling at Otto Wallin, cut it out, when he was getting in close with the head. So I believe that he's under the impression that it could be, if it stopped, it would be go to the scorecards, and that would not be the case.
Well, do me a favor. I want you to get with Ben Davison. You find out what that corner knows or doesn't know, and you let us know. Round 5 here. Drama in Vegas. Fury and Wallin. The upset-minded, undefeated Swede who came here 20-0. Top sparring through the years against Anthony Joshua and Big Baby Miller and all of the solid top-level heavyweights. He was scheduled to fight this summer. That fell through. So he feels like he had the extra prep. He was ready for this when he got the call. He said, it's my time. I'm confident. And now there's a golden opportunity to hit the jackpot. Let's go back to Bernardo.
Ben, what is the impression of Tyson in terms of the position of the cut, and was it a headbutt or a punch?
Jorge's dealing with the cut. It's been deemed as a headbutt, so the referee's told me. We did make the referee aware of that before.
Actually, it's been deemed a punch. The Nevada State Athletic Commission saw the replay, and they deemed it to be a clean punch. How does that change the outlook?
What's that, sorry?
It's a punch. It was a clean punch due to the replay. How does that change the way you guys look at the situation?
Well, obviously Tyson's got to deal with it. He's got plenty of art, as he's shown before, so hopefully the referee gives him, understands that and keeps him in the fight. But Tyson's dealing with it okay. He can box, he can see, so don't see why it should be a problem.
He seems to be pawing at it. How distracted is he, and how long till he gets back on track?
There's a little bit. He's on track. Even though he's been cut, he's still winning them rounds.
Thank you very much, Ben.
So you see the confusion because at first the referee did tell the corner, and the referee said it was clash of heads, but then they have replay here in Nevada. So the Nevada State Athletic Commission, led by Bob Bennett, they took a look and they said, no, absolutely, clean left hand, and it is a punch.
Well, the commission has to clearly communicate that to Tyson Fury's corner.
By the way, a great job by Bernardo getting right on top of that and getting to Ben Davison. Great work. Final 20 seconds here of round 5. Wallin is not going away at all.
And Fury getting hit with that big looping left hand coming from Otto Wallin.
That's because Fury keeps going to the right, which is right into the range of the best punch of Wallin, which is that overhand left and straight left. He needs to stay on the left side of Wallin and stay away from that left hand.
Stop.
Who thought we'd be dealing with this? End of 5.
Good stuff. Couple of deep breaths. Yeah, can you take it out? Try and get it out of his mouth.
What's that fucking head?
Right. Okay. He's getting in that habit of starting to touch his head like the other fella, yeah? When he touches his head, little feint, see how he reacts first. If it's clear to go, then we go. He's getting in a rhythm, yeah? Hands touch his head, then he goes back to boxing. That's a little reset for him. So when he's resetting with his hands touching his head, feint, take a look, assess it before we commit, yeah? Because you are. Let's start putting some more tempo on him now. He'll start to crack.
One more time. This is the left hand that opened up that gash on the right brow of Tyson Fury. And as you got a closer look, as we watched the cut man, Jorge Capetillo, do his thing there, you also notice that there's also a cut on the lid. The brow has a gash. The swelling is on the lid, which now is expanded and has a cut. Round number 6 here in Vegas. Lineal Heavyweight Championship on the line.
To the young fighters at home, this is why you don't play the name game. If you've never heard of a fighter, if his record is less than stellar, you don't take it light in training camp. You treat every fight like it's the toughest fight of your life. So that way, if a guy's not ready, you treat him like he's not ready. And if he is ready, you're ready.
30-1 odds in all the Vegas sports books on Otto Wallin. 30-1.
I think it's the training of Joey Gamache right now that has Wallin in this fight. It's the fundamentals. He's using his jab. He's standing underneath himself.
Joey Gamache, the former world champion, Bernardo's with him.
And they both are really happy about the cut because that really has brought the sense of urgency in Otto Wallin instead of the opposite. And Joey Gamache said, look, I want him to take risks. He's got to win rounds. He's got to be in there and not leave any doubt.
I love that idea of taking risks. You're in a spot like this. You're facing the champ. Take your at bat.
Stop. I got you.
Tyson Fury is rattled right now. He doesn't like the roughhousing of Otto Wallin, but he's got to figure it out. If you want to be the best fighter in the world, and if you're saying you're the best heavyweight in the world, you have to be able to figure out a guy like Otto Wallin, get through this rough moment, and close the show.
That's right. And you know, Dre, I don't think that Fury took him lightly. He came in 8 pounds lighter.
I don't think he did either.
I just think it's a great game plan by Otto Wallin.
Now this is what you worry about if you're the corner of Tyson Fury, the ringside physician.
Still winning the round.
He could advise to stop it.
Parkinson, let's go.
You can see? Okay, good. Okay.
And you have to keep answering that way. I can see. And now look at him, realizing the urgency as he comes off with the visit from the ringside physician and fires away with a combination. Left uppercut on the inside, trying to smother on the inside, leaning forward, searching for an answer, pounding on the inside, looking to split that guard and smother Wallin.
That's exactly what you have to say, Joe. Just like you mentioned, if you have a bad cut like that, you have to let the referee know, excuse me, you have to let the doctor know that you can see, because the golden rule is if you say you cannot see, the referee, the doctor is gonna stop the fight immediately to protect the fighter. Good job from Tyson Fury by acting like a fighter, even though he's cut.
By the way, the cut has worsened just in the last 20 seconds. It is far worse right now.
And Fury's doing the right thing by staying close to Wallin, so he's not getting hit by those leaping left hands.
Yeah, but he got to be careful of the hair. He got to be leery of the head of Otto Wallin, because that head can just, keep that.
Did you just see that as Wallin was poking at the cut? He tried to thumb the cut. Wow.
Sit down.
Watch what Wallin does here when they break.
Okay, if you're going to dogfight him, when you change your height, step in. Don't change your height and stay there for him to keep pitter-patting. Change your height, step into him, smother him.
He rakes the face across the gash of Tyson Fury at the end of the round.
You listening?
Look at this.
Don't change your height and stay there. Change your height and step in. Change your height and step in.
You could make a strong argument for an automatic point deduction just on that alone.
Just on that alone. That was a deliberate foul.
Did Wallin forget that Tony Weeks was sitting right there?
That's
terrible. Like you can't do that.
Remain aware defensively. Do not switch off.
What?
Let's
go.
Too much Vaseline, he said.
Yeah, too much grease. Look at the glob of grease. It would surprise me if Tony Weeks doesn't stop this to have them wipe that down.
Spread the grease out. Come here. Spread it out. No, I'll touch it. No, shut up. Spread it out. Get spread it. Hey, right here. Close your eye.
No coaching. Okay, here we go. Time, man, let's go.
It's a bad move from Wallin to do what he did in front of Tony Weeks like that, because now he's on Tony Weeks' radar, and Tony Weeks is really going to be keeping an eye on everything that Wallin does moving forward.
Tyson Fury going for the knockout right now.
You can tell Fury is hitting the accelerator a little bit here to start this 7th round. He understands the circumstances. He's looking for that right hand behind the jab, isn't he?
Joe and Tim, this is what you have to do. If you want to be the best heavyweight in the world, you have to respond like this.
Yes, sir.
You cannot bow out. You can't have a less than stellar performance, because you got a lot of weight on your shoulders, and Tyson Fury has to answer that call.
Stop. Let him up. Watch it. Let him up. No, stop.
I just spoke with Jorge Capetillo, who is the cut man for Tyson Fury. He told me, look, the cut is big, it's getting bigger, and it's dangerous, and it's a dangerous spot, but Tyson can see. Right there when he came out, Tyson Fury took the Vaseline with his glove off of the cut. That's why they brought him back to the corner to put Vaseline on it.
He's done a good job with the cut. Because it's not bleeding at the moment.
And if you're joining us right now, just to remind you of how we arrived at this point, there was a big left hand that Otto Wallin landed in the 3rd round. They used replay. Originally, the cut happened, and the referee, Tony Weeks, thought it was a clash. They used replay to say, no, it was a clean punch, which means if the fight is stopped, there's a new heavyweight champion. It would be 30-1 underdog Otto Wallin. Let's see what Fury can do here in the last half of this 7th round as he is stalking. Wallin has been so game, so determined to stay the course with his plan.
Walling's going to have to stay concentrated. You know, he's fading a little bit right now.
Yeah, he's fatigued.
He's fatigued, yeah. And you see Fury coming on strong.
As Wallin ties up on the inside instead of working. Earlier in this fight, he would work. He would throw punches.
Wallin's punches have no steam on him right now in this round.
3-punch combination from Fury.
Good body shot from Wallin right there. He snuck that one in.
Back with that body
Nice
shot,
answer.
didn't he? 1-2 from Fury. Then he leans down on his back.
Fury has to watch the head of Wallin, especially when he gets close. Wallin's trying to keep that head on that side of where the cut is at, trying to open it up even more.
Of course, when you have southpaw versus orthodox, there's always a tendency for a clash of heads. Look at all that weight leaning down on that top rope.
Big boys making Tony Weeks work tonight.
It's nearly 500 pounds of heavyweight leaning there. Coming to the end of 7. The drama continues here with it all on the line.
Yeah. Sit down, please. No, come.
Tyson Fury stepped it up this last round. Otto Wallin landed a good left. Tyson Fury answered with a right hand of its own. The energy of Tyson Fury was different. Good right hand. Otto Wallin is looking fatigued mentally and physically, and good work from the big man inside. 85-inch reach, not supposed to be throwing body shots like that. Not supposed to be throwing short shots on the inside, but he's doing it. And like I said earlier, I like the fact that he's staying close. He does have to watch the heads,
yes,
but he's also staying out of range of the left hand of Wallin.
Meanwhile, Wallin and his corner go to the end swell to deal with swelling underneath the left eye. By the way, tremendous look with our 4D cameras here tonight.
Nice answer from Tyson Fury. Saw several different looks of it, but it looks a little bit better.
Yeah,
with those
that
graphics.
4D, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
A lot of Vaseline on the eye of Tyson Fury. Surprised that Tony Weeks didn't catch that. He caught it 2 rounds previously, but he didn't catch it right now. It all just fell off.
It just fell off.
68-65 on Dre's scorecard. That scorecard, the threat is that it doesn't even come into play if that cut worsens.
Fury's fighting off the back foot right now, using a good jab right now. Wallin right now trying to figure out a way to get close to land something hard over the top. Working that eye right there out of Wallin. Nice little short left hooks.
Good body shot from Tyson Fury right there.
Snuck it in there.
Short left to the body.
Just burrowing his way into the chest of Wallin. And now he goes to the body. 2 body shots to the belt line by Tyson Fury.
We saw answers from Wallin early in the fight, the first 3 or 4 rounds. We're not seeing Wallin answer anything that Tyson Fury does at the moment.
There's a 1-2 from the champ.
And it's not a heart thing with Wallin, it's a fatigue thing with Wallin.
Plus you got Fury with that 6'9" frame, just leaning down on you time and time again, just holding that weight against you.
But this is why everybody's not a champion. It's not a 6-round fight, it's a 12-round fight. You have to be able to shoulder up under the pressure and the fatigue and all the different things that happen for the full 12 rounds, not half of the fight.
But Otto Wallin doesn't have that experience. And that was the point of this fight. He doesn't have that experience late in fights against good competition.
Wallin has been 10 rounds one time and 12 rounds one time as well.
Meanwhile, Tyson Fury has been floored deep into the drama fight against Deontay Wilder, arguably the biggest puncher in the sport, and rose up like the Undertaker out of the WWE to go on to a controversial draw.
Nice uppercut attempt right there from Tyson Fury as he stayed low. He came up with a nice, beautiful uppercut.
Three-punch combination from Fury.
This is Fury acting like a bigger man. He knows he has a size advantage. He's stepping inside and
that's a big shot. Right hand reined in. Short left hook comes in. Getting some damage done here at the end of 8.
Absolutely. All that wrestling and tussling and stuff, that takes a lot of energy.
Another right hand from Fury. This has been a strong, punishing round. Something taken out of the lean there in that 8th. Let's listen in.
Shield. Clean up for me. Water. When you're changing your height, you've got to smother, yeah, if you're going to do it. If you're going to dip down, smother, don't sit there. Remain aware, keep those throwaway shots. You're landing some good stuff inside, but keep it going together. What. When he puts his hands around his head, volume and variety. Another drop. 4 to go. 4 to go. Make sure it's smooth. Keep your head still. Let him do it.
Let's go. Let's go.
Here we go.
Saw in that exchange, Wallin still looking to rake when he can against that cut. See that man right there? That's Jorge Capetillo, the cut man for Tyson Fury. Do you realize how many tens and tens of millions of dollars are in his hands right now? To secure that cut, to try to keep the course for the mega event of Fury Wilder. There is CompuBox total punches. You see the numbers there. As Tyson Fury with the connect advantage.
See, here's the thing with what Tyson Fury is doing right now to Wallin. It's one thing for Wallin to get hit to the head, but Tyson Fury is committing with both hands to the body, and he's finishing to the head. Big difference, and if Wallin doesn't have an answer, he may not be around long because fatigue is set in, but now he's starting to get punished. He's not just getting beat. Wallin has also forgot to hit the body of Tyson Fury, something he did early in the fight.
Which we said, if he could keep up, would pay dividends late. But he stopped making those deposits long ago. And instead, it's been a steady diet of Fury, leaning in, pressuring, right hands. Joey Gamache, the former world champion, is the trainer of Wallin. Bernardo's with him.
Joey, this is a cruel sport. You said target the cut. What does Otto need to do here in this round?
He can take it, hit that cut, bust it open. That jab and overhand left. That's what he's got to do. He's got to hit that cut and break it open. Hit that cut, Otto.
Now, how does he get this 6'9", 250-plus fighter off of him? Because is he getting a little fatigue here?
Well, he looks like he's getting a little fatigue, but he's still punching. You know, he's in there with a big guy, but a big guy that makes himself smaller, so we have to hit over the top. You know, we worked the body early on, but now we're looking to come up top. Come on, Otto, the jab and overhand left.
Thank you. We'll let you get back to work, Joey.
Excellent access with Joey Gamache, the 53-year-old former 130 and 135-pound world champion who suffered when he retired in 2000. It came on the heels of one of the most brutal knockouts you'll ever see from the late Arturo Gatti. That cut has worsened again. It has opened up. Blood is painted down the right side of the face of Tyson Fury as he comes in with a right hand. Final minute here of round 9.
That's the difference between being elite, Tess. You know, the conditioning of Tyson Fury. You can see it. And you can see the want in Tyson Fury. Pushing him back, bullying Otto Wallin, catching right hands. Ooh, beautiful right hands.
Oh, and he goes to the body. Oh, he's searching for that big right uppercut, wasn't he? Just missed it.
Otto Wallin is telling Tyson Fury to come on and give me more. Tyson Fury is going to oblige.
Another right hand reins in. Wallin does not want to be in that position. Trying to hang on against Fury.
Tess, it's just a matter of time.
Fury. Big uppercut! Closing seconds and Fury's got him in trouble.
That's what the fucking Gypsy King's about. Oh,
Tyson Fury inside right now. Nice short uppercut. What does he see? You see the earmuffs of Otto Wallin. He comes up the middle. Comes around the guards with the hook after.
He's gonna crack. 3 to go.
That's IQ. That's ring IQ right there. You see the head of Otto Wallin leaning forward. And here's Fury against the ropes, coming around the guard once again with the right hook against Otto Wallin. And the straight right hand. A nice shot by Tyson Fury. And you see the response coming from Otto Wallin, trying to answer.
You know what's an amazing visual that sums up this fight? Look at the front of the chest and the forearms of referee Tony Weeks. Absolutely soaked in blood and sweat. These two big men separating them as the cut drains from that right arm. Here comes Fury, a powerful attack to open the 10th round. Look at Tyson Fury all over Wallin, smothering him, battering him with a series of rights and lefts, and then coming in like an offensive lineman, head down into the chest of Wallin. Big right hand at range. Blood is everywhere ringside. With every punch thrown, we have blood splatter right on us. Right hand comes in against Wallin.
Fury broke the spirit of Otto Wallin. Broke the spirit. Going down to the body. He's in them with heavy shots right now on the ropes.
Left uppercut reined in. Wallin looks to tie up again. His face is swollen. He has blood from his nose. He has been gained, but right now he's outclassed, outsized, and he's taken.
Otto Wallin is taking heavy punishment right now from the lineal champion of the world, Tyson Fury.
Fury is dominating. Can he finish? Oh, good body shot came in.
All set up by
big, hard, thick right hand to the body. And then he strays low a little bit. Right uppercut on the inside. Fury tries to get some separation. The champ looks for a right uppercut again.
We talked about this in our first fight. Sometimes it's about a feeling. This isn't a game plan. Tyson Fury feels like doing this to Otto Wallin, so he's doing it, and Wallin just doesn't have any answers.
He's exhausted, Dre.
He's been exhausted the last 4 rounds.
He's exhausted. He's fighting on fumes right now. He's still fighting back in spots. He's trying.
But Otto Wallin should have recovered. It's one thing to have 1 round off, maybe 2. But if you're going to fight at this level, you got to be able to recover and snap back. He hasn't recovered since that 3rd or 4th round.
It was all the body shots that Tyson Fury.
There have been some thunderous right hands that have backed up Wallin into the ropes in this round.
That's what zapped all the energy and the power from Otto Wallin.
Wallin is not effective right now, but I'll give him credit for being tough.
And isn't it appropriate on a night with all the celebration for Mexican Independence Day, on this traditional boxing weekend in Vegas that have seen so many tough Mexican warriors who have fought fights that included bad gashes, bloody messes, going to the body, having to dig deep, that Tyson Fury gets a Mexican-styled fight.
Bloody.
Isn't it appropriate?
Guts. Well, he told us in the fighter meeting, Joe, this is what he wanted, so he got what he asked for.
He needs these rounds, bro. Tyson Fury, I'm talking about that. He needs these rounds.
Wallin got through this 10th somehow. Let's show you in real speed the action early in that last round when Fury did his thing.
See, Tyson Fury, this is a real thing. This is an attitude. This is a feeling. He's just letting his shots go. He has no respect for Otto Wallin at the moment. He definitely wants to make him pay for cutting him earlier in the fight. He feels like Otto Wallin has been dirty, and he just wants to let him know what time it is. He wants to let him know that, listen, all the talk about me being the best heavyweight in the world, the lineal champion, it's real. And Otto Wallin is feeling the wrath of Tyson Fury right now.
Working super mode here
nice
with the uppercut.
85-inch reach.
Short punches like that.
Throwing short uppercuts like that. You got to respect it.
Two to go.
Championship rounds for the Gypsy King, or as he wants everybody to call him this week, El Rey de los Gitanos. The skillful technician who's acting like a tough, grizzled veteran that he is. Second fight of his $100 million deal with Top Rank to fight on ESPN platforms. And of course, the widely reported rematch, the mega event with Deontay Wilder. It stands in the balance for both men. As we said, anything can happen in heavyweight boxing, and they both need to pass a test to get back to each other. Bernardo, what's the latest coming from the corner of Wallin?
Very honest Joey Gamache. I asked him, how's he feeling, and are you taking a close look at him? He said, I am taking a close look at him. I don't want him to take too much punishment.
Well, he took a lot of punishment in that last round. There's no doubt about it. There have been 101 power punches landed by Fury. He has outlanded him in total punches 150 to 98. And Dre's scorecard goes 98-92. Rounds 6 through 10 have been dominated by Fury, as Wallin has been hurt in the last 2 rounds.
But Tyson Fury let off the body of Otto Wallin. He needs to go down to the body. That's exactly how he broke him down. Nice shot right there, but he's hand hunting right now. If he goes down to the body, the head's going to be open.
It's kind of hard not to head hunt when you hit everything you throw. Tyson Fury is throwing, and Otto Wallin is catching.
There's some tape loose on the right wrist, that blood-soaked right wrist of Tyson Fury. And if Tony Weeks sees it, we are going to have a stoppage here for him to address it. There you see it there, and there you see more of the leaning. Look at that gash. Look at the right eye of Fury at this point. Oh, he goes to the body well there, as he's just walking him back, driving him down like pushing a blocking sled, as he paws at the eye again. Final minute here coming up of round number 11. How will Fury close the show?
This is all guts by both of these guys. Mental toughness by both of these guys. Otto Wallin, he's been hit with some big shots, but he's still in there. He's fighting back. He's fighting as hard as he possibly can right now, and so is Tyson Fury.
Listen, we are in a new golden age right now of boxing, with the exposure and the investment of the sport, with guys like Bud Crawford at welterweight and Vasily Lomachenko at lightweight, the 2 top pound-for-pound fighters in the world. But there's boxing, and then there's heavyweight boxing.
That's right.
And this just feels different.
It sure does. And right now, Tyson Fury feeling real good right now, catching Otto Wallin as Otto Wallin leans in with a nice 2-piece.
That's big left hand to the body. Thudding shot with a short right hand. Another right hand up top. Final seconds of the 11th, and Wallin is hurt again. Tyson has the bad cut, but Wallin's the one who's going to be feeling this punishment for quite some time. He's taking a beating. Let's listen in.
How you doing? Good. All right, listen, man. This is it. This is it. 1 round. You still do it. Move around, exactly. Move around and pop shot him with that overhand. You hear me? But you can't stay in one place on him. You got to move. You got to move. You got to move on him. Can you move on him? Can you shift? Go to the angles. He's tired.
Empty the fucking well.
That's right. Empty the well. He's going to go to that body. 12th round. Listen, that should re-inspire you. You're here. Come on, Otto. Move, move, move on your feet. You hear me? Move to your right side. When you can pop shot, pop shot. Let him hold hang on, baby. Shift your angle. Shift your angle.
The 12th and final round. What an excellent job by Joey Gamache to prepare his fighter to be in a spot like this. And what an incredible job by cutman Jorge Capetillo for Tyson Fury to give the undefeated lineal heavyweight champ the opportunity to continue on and put forth this kind of dominating performance.
And let's not forget about the young trainer, Ben Davison, who's kept his poise. He stayed calm, and he kept Tyson Fury calm, so Fury can start to assert himself like he's doing right now.
Fury has dominated the back half of this fight, while having a situation. There's a big left hand trying to hit the jackpot kind of punch from the title challenger.
He hurt Fury.
And he hurt Fury with that shot.
Fury tying up right there.
Can you believe what this heavyweight fight has offered? Wallin all of a sudden has a chance here in the 12th round.
He's hurt, Tess.
30-1 underdog who's been dominated for the last 6 rounds, and all of a sudden he lands 1 punch and he's back in business.
Stop. No punch.
Let him go, let him go.
This fight has had everything. Absolutely everything. Fury's backing up. A left hand comes in from Otto Wallin.
Tyson Fury's got to move in the other direction. He's moving into the left hand of Otto Wallin. That's why he keeps getting caught with it.
And his face is an absolute mess. The gash is streaming blood down the right side of his face as he continues to paw at it.
That's the direction Tyson Fury needs to go for the remainder of this fight. And Otto Wallin needs to try to get another big left hand in there before this fight is over.
He's trying to line him up, Dre. He's trying to line him up. Tyson Fury better keep that right hand up.
What an incredible, spirited effort from Otto Wallin.
There he is, nice little feint right there from Wallin.
Stop.
Just looking to land that shot a few more times before this bell rings.
Wallin can't allow himself to be tied up by Tyson Fury. He's got to break loose from that clinch and try to get that left hand in there. It's his only shot.
Last half minute. Lineal Heavyweight Championship on the line. A 20-0 undefeated, little-known Swede who's a 30-1 underdog looking for one last chance against Tyson Fury.
Joe Tessitore, is this not the fight that Tyson Fury said he wanted in the fight?
He said he wanted a war, a challenge. He got a bloodbath and an incredibly determined challenger. This is when the sport is at its best. Great stuff between Fury and Wallin. A Rocky-esque performance from the Swede. A dominating second half from the champ. A red-painted face on the lineal heavyweight champ. And he fought through it. Both these guys will be having a visit to the hospital tonight. But for now, we celebrate them. We wait to hear from the judges and the post-fight interviews. This was great stuff. Great stuff. You know, I said this earlier this week when somebody was interviewing us about where the sport is. The fans are being served better now than they have in a generation.
Absolutely.
The access, whether it's here on ESPN Plus or our friends at Fox or the folks over on the streaming service, there are better fights, there is more money, there are more fighters willing to take big fights and extend themselves, and the fans aren't sitting back paying too much money to experience it. And it was great here in Vegas tonight.
Well, Tess, this is exactly what Fury needed, especially if he wins this fight tonight, which I think he will. You know, moving forward in the Deontay Wilder fight, because let me tell you, a lot of questions were answered tonight by Tyson Fury.
There's his wife, Paris, and you can see the concern on his wife. That's his brother to the left in the black t-shirt. His wife, Paris, they are a dynamic couple who they think through every part of the business together. She has been the rock in his life as he came back from the struggles of personal issues. He openly talks about his battles with mental illness, with depression, of alcohol and drug abuse. He was up to 400 pounds and out of the sport before he rededicated himself and has climbed the mountain. Let's hear what the judges say. For that, here's Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of action, we have a unanimous decision. Here are the score totals. Judge at ringside, Don Trella, scores the bout 116 to 112. Eric Cheek sees it 117 to 111. And Tim Cheatham scores the bout 118 to 110. All three in favor of the winner. And still the undefeated lineal heavyweight champion of the world, the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury.
They got it right, but that barely tells the story. A well-earned unanimous decision win for Tyson Fury, but more drama than you would ever expect. Wallin put forth the game plan early. Then in the third round, he landed the big left hand that opened up that bad cut. Fury dominated the middle and late rounds, hurting him in the 9th, the 10th, the 11th. But then Wallin came back and turned the tables and hurt Fury in the 12th. Bernardo.
Bob Arum came over to congratulate Otto Wallin on a great fight. Otto, you said you came here to win, and you proved that. How do you feel about your performance tonight? Maybe the scorecards don't reflect what the fight was like.
Yeah, I didn't even hear the scorecards, but you know, I did everything I could. I tried my best, and Tyson is a great champion.
Joey was telling you, target that cut. How much did that cut make a difference in how you fought tonight?
What did you say?
When you saw the cut, and Joey Gamache was telling you, target the cut, how much did that change the way you fought tonight?
I tried to hit it even more. I know it was a punch that did it in the corner over there, and you know, I was happy that he was cut, but I wish that I could have capitalized a little more on it.
You hung in there with the lineal champion, who many consider the best heavyweight in the world today. What does that tell you about where you are?
It tells me that nobody can question my heart and question that I'm a good fighter.
Exactly. Thank you very much for your time and performance tonight.
Nobody can question that. And that guy's going to make himself a lot of money in the course of the coming years with that performance. He is a true heavyweight contender. The final punch stats, by the way, Tyson Fury, total punches 179 to 127. A clear advantage there. Power punches, 127 to 84. A dominating power punch connect total for Tyson Fury. There are the final numbers. You see Wallin was a little more judicious, but Fury had all the power that landed in the middle and late rounds. Bernardo.
We all knew about the huge cut that happened early on. Now there's a second cut on the eyelid. Tyson, how did these cuts change the approach, especially when you found out that it wasn't a headbutt, but it was a punch that if they had stopped the fight, you would have lost by technical knockout?
Yes, firstly, I just want to say thank you to my Lord and Saviour Jesus Christ for giving me the power and strength and giving me the victory on this special weekend. Secondly, big shout out Bob Arum, Top Rank, Jimmy Pitero, ESPN, and Kevin Mayer. And after that, I want to say big congratulations to Otto. I just want to say rest in peace to his father. I know he'd be very, very proud of the performance that Otto Wallin just did. The great Swede, the Viking warrior. It was a great fight, you know. I got caught early on with the inside of the glove on the eyelid, which cut the eye, changed the fight completely. For majority of the fight, I couldn't see out my left eye, and then Southpaw Orthodox clashed heads and give me a second cut. I've not seen the cut, but it feels quite bad. But you know, I am a gypsy warrior. This is Mexican Independence Day. Come on, Mexico! Viva Mexico!
You told us in the fighter meetings you wanted a war. You wanted to finish this fight with a body shot a la Julio Cesar Chavez. You ended up with a face like Julio did against Oscar De La Hoya with the blood and everything. What did you learn about yourself in your performance tonight?
Listen, it was a good performance. I got a good 12 rounds in. Otto Wallin was a tough Swede. Blood, guts, heart, all showed tonight. I won the WBC prestigious Mayan belt, lineal champion, 5th defense of my title. Deontay Wilder, I want you next, boom!
You will get that next once you recover from this cut. And when we look at that, 2020 is the fight everybody sees. What did you learn tonight that will help you for that fight?
Listen, all preparation is good. You know, I had a long time out of the ring. That's my 3rd fight back now. 1, 2, 3, 4th fight back. Put me in good stead now for the big boy, the old bronze bomber, the Big Dosser, a.k.a. Big Dosser. He's next February 22nd. Let the cut heal, you know, enjoy myself and get some time to relax with the family. It's been a long, tough, hard camp.
Round 12 against Deontay Wilder was memorable. Right here against Otto Wallin, it was also a very tough round. How do you get through these rounds and just continue just coming forward?
You know what it is? It's all heart and determination. If I can keep going, I will keep going. You know, he was a tough guy, him with some chin shots and some body shots. He kept coming. He's 6'6" tall, 20-0. He didn't know how to lose, but tonight I was the better man. And again, one more time, rest in peace, Otto Wallin's father. He'd be very proud of his son.
Get stitched up, and we'll see you in February 2020, the rematch against Deontay Wilder.
You know, he's just a dynamic personality. The class act to say rest in peace and time and again to remember the father of his opponent, Otto Wallin. His father passed away this past spring. And then the dichotomy of the personality that he can turn it around and call Deontay Wilder a big dosser and say, I want you next, you bum. Ever the promoter is the lineal heavyweight champion. That was a sensational fight. Pure drama from start to finish. We're going to have much more straight ahead. So much to talk about and break this down and what is ahead for Fury. Max Kellerman and the champs will do that when we return to Vegas.
First they look above the left eye. Now they go down underneath that right eye.
Deep breath.
Can't see. It's a bad cut over his eye. I hope he has a good cut, man.
They're boxing's first responders. 60-second medics.
I was getting my eye for a while. Al Gavin stopped it good and felt good after.
But no one starts out wanting to be a cut man. A cut man's a guy who's been something else. Maitre d', field worker, maybe even a matador. If they failed as fighters or trainers themselves, they still love the game. Love it in a way that's, well, in the blood. You hang around gyms until you acquire not mere knowledge, but a kind of wisdom. Part surgeon,
Clean them off.
Part shrink.
That was a good round, man. Don't go into cool.
Part politician.
We won the bloody rail.
Show me a cut man, I'll show you a lifer.
I knew once I get in the corner, man, hey, they take care of the work. That's their job.
Guy who still sees the fighter as a kid. FX Tool, himself a cut man, once wrote, "I stopped the blood and saved the fight. Boy loves me more than he loves his daddy."
I got a good cut man. I got the best right here.
Back here at the T-Mobile Arena, and they say that the cut man is an insurance policy. Well, tonight, Tyson Fury cashed his in with Jorge Capetillo. You were the MVP tonight. When he came back in that second round and then in the third round with the second cut, walk me through what you were thinking, because those are not just your run-of-the-mill cuts.
You know what? The first thing that I have to say, I gotta get to God the glory for allowing me to give me the wisdom to stop the blood. And yes, it was a deep cut. And then in the third and the fourth round, he came with two cuts. So I know that I had to work. And then one of the referees said it was a punch. So it wasn't my understanding we couldn't stop the fight. So it was very important to me to make my word count and make sure that the blood it was going to stop.
Without revealing any secrets, how do you get those cuts under control?
You know what? It's just a matter of experience, and I know that I can stop it. And I was just sure that I can stop it. And I did my best to stop the fight because I know he was going to win this fight.
It's only your second fight with Tyson Fury. The relationship, how important is the trust he had in you? Because those trunks tell a different story.
Yeah, sure. I mean, he got a lot of sympathy for all the people, for the human being, for the Mexicans. We got a beautiful relationship between Tyson, me, the whole team, and I'm very proud of him. And I thank God for this victory.
Those are the trunks full of blood. The Mexican flag represented tonight with Tyson Fury, and he did have a war very much on a September 14th, Independence Day weekend. That's exactly what we got here in the ring. Max, we send it up to you.
Thanks, Bernardo. Guys, that's why there's no real such thing as a 30-1 underdog. A cut in boxing. Like, how can he possibly win? And as soon as you see the cut, you go, yeah, that's one way. You got to love Tyson Fury. Just even saying RIP to Valin's father, right? He wanted Valin to feel good about it. He has a winning personality. And guys, this was a winning performance. Like Errol Spence against Mikey Garcia showed his boxing and people criticized. Like Lomachenko against Campbell showed his toughness, people criticized. Here, a 6'9" fighter had to go on the inside, he felt, and changed the fight with body shots and showed an inside game. You did the same sort of thing against Edison Miranda. You against Provodnikov. Not your prettiest performances, but toughness. Your thoughts, Andre?
First and foremost, I think everybody in the world needs to stop trying to be first to say everything and just kind of let things play out. I know that's not a reality. I didn't put too much stock in the fact that Wallin was going to fall in 2 or fall in 3. I knew he was going to be a tough opponent, didn't know how tough. He showed himself well. He was all in, until he ran out of gas. And I think the cut was the worst thing that happened to Wallin because he started to admire his work. He was enamored by the cut, and he stopped working. Good performance from Tyson Fury. He got it a different kind of way, and I don't think the rematch happens in February, but I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait.
Because of the cut. The cut's going to push back the rematch, you believe?
The fight will, it definitely will push back the rematch, but I think the MVP tonight, definitely the cut man, but also Gamage, man. Joey Gamage, he did a great job with Otto Wallin to get him prepared for this fight. He did a great job, but you know what? Tyson Fury showing his grit, showing his determination, showing his will, showing you what a champion is made of, taking it inside the trenches, going down to the body, and breaking down Otto Wallin and winning the match. You know, it wasn't the prettiest match. I think the cuts made it look worse than what it was. I thought that, you know, Tyson Fury was winning the fight, you know, pretty easily, pretty handily, but, you know,
I didn't think so. I thought by showing Tyson Fury no respect, Otto Wallin earned a lot himself. Ben Davison said that Wallin would ask a lot of questions of Fury. He answered them under great duress, and now we find ourselves back where we started, rooting for the rematch. Most heavyweights are known for knocking guys down. Tyson Fury for getting up.
How did he get up? He rose from the ashes like a phoenix.
In that moment, he reconfigured not just his reputation, but the course of the division.
Fury now taking the fight to Wilder.
Perhaps the sport itself. What began as a title fight between undefeated heavyweights is now due to resume as, well, a title fight between undefeated heavyweights. Each combatant bigger now than he was then. A sequel more keenly anticipated than the opening act. No one's testing out a new weight or a new sport, and they're not past their prime. It's that rarest of occasions in boxing where commerce meets merit. The most powerful, the most skilled, at the height of their power.
There's only one guy that interests me, and that's the battle of the ages, and that's me and Deontay Wilder, because that's the real battle of the undefeated heavyweight giants. Mammoths, behemoths, titans. Does it get any better than that? Do I need to sell it anymore?
If Fury's the lineal champion, then all lines lead here. Good luck on your fight, Deontay Wilder.
Are you ready?
See you February 22nd for the 13th round. You see Fury walking in there. He had not been cut since 2010. This is a relatively new adversity for him to face. Davison said Wallin would ask questions of him. I think that the big question now is, can that cut heal in time for February 26th?
Yeah, that's the big question. The champions we have up on this dais right now, Tim Bradley and Andre Ward, don't think so. I tend to agree with them. I'll say this, you know, he and Deontay Wilder are both authentic people. Yeah. And they fight authentically. Tyson Fury, we've now seen outbox Klitschko when no one else could do that. Right. He then rose off the deck to beat Wilder. Here he gutted it out against an underdog challenger with a cut. And by the way, when he said, rest in peace to his challenger's father, let's keep in mind, this was a challenger who illegally raked a cut eye in order to gain advantage, right? Tyson Fury, in light of that, still had that to say after the fight. He's a genuine dude. And I was a little surprised by the fact that given his last performance, he didn't connect with a crowd here on Mexican Independence Day to draw a bigger crowd to this fight. But I think there's no question that the Deontay Wilder fight is now as big as it could possibly be.
Absolutely, Max. I think the fight is definitely bigger. I think Deontay Wilder probably was a little nervous, especially when he saw the cut.
Of course he was.
I mean, you know, he's probably like, man, don't do this to me. Don't be Joshua. Don't mess the money up. You know, but you know, I like the fact that Tyson Fury actually went some rounds. I told you he needed some rounds.
That's what you asked for.
He needed those rounds, man, because now he can go back to the drawing board. Everything ain't all beautiful like he thought it was going to be. You know, he struggled tonight a little bit, but he figured out a way, and now he can go back to the drawing board and refocus himself right before the big fight.
Listen, the fight is already sold with Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. They're both big personalities, so they're going to do more to sell the fight. And I think when these guys do meet, if Deontay Wilder is successful against Luis Ortiz, we don't even know when that fight is. Rumored to be November, could be December. We're going to see an all-time great heavyweight fight because both guys can be vulnerable. Both guys believe in their ability. There's bad blood, and these guys are extremely competitive, and there's a lot of money on the line, and they really want to be the best heavyweight in the world, and it starts with those two guys. They're fighting for #1. Andy Ruiz and Anthony Joshua, in my opinion, are fighting for the #2 spot. Those are the two best heavyweights in the world.
I agree, and eventually when the dust settles, everyone standing in the winner's circle is going to fight each other, right? That's how errors are decided. Let's take a look at the CompuBox numbers from the first Tyson Fury-Deontay Wilder fight. Guys, I thought that it was simply a question of whether or not Tyson Fury could get up, and if he got up, he would win. But the judges didn't see it that way.
Well, that was the moment, and that's not a moment that you can capture on CompuBox, that getting up. You know,
but you can see the dominance of Fury on CompuBox.
Ali Frazier one was known as the fight of the century. I'm not volunteering these two guys to replace that. However, in the heavyweight history of this young century, that was about as good as you're going to get. That was about as good as we've seen.
Wait, are you saying that their first fight, Fury Wilder, that the rematch is a rematch of the greatest heavyweight fight of this century?
I am saying you can argue that their first fight was as good a heavyweight fight as we have seen this century. We went through this afternoon, and it's not an implausible argument.
I'm trying to get you to have a hot take here, Mark. You're shying away all of a sudden.
Yeah, here's my last thought on Wilder and Fury. The willingness. The willingness to risk it all. Yes, there's big incentive. A lot of money on the line, tens of millions of dollars, but the willingness, it's a lot of ducking going on in boxing. It's a lot of careers being made based on guys facing subpar competition, lower level competition, but claiming to be the next, whoever you want to say they're the next. And they don't have a big fight on the horizon. These guys having the willingness to step up and risk it all, they got respect from me. And
I'll say this about what you said, Mark. You're absolutely right. When you look at this young century, which is now just about 2 decades old, you have Joshua and Klitschko, Vitaly Klitschko against Lennox Lewis. Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, when you add up the drama, the stakes, the fact that they were both in their primes when they fought.
I don't think Fury was in his prime. Well, I think he was still on the mend.
Fine, ascending or around their prime. That was the last fight of Lewis's career when he fought Vitaly Klitschko. Vladimir was at the end against Joshua. These guys are in the middle of their careers. You could legitimately argue that it is a rematch after 2 decades of this century of the greatest heavyweight fight of the century. You could legitimately argue it.
It's like almost like God said, okay, I'm going to make Fury 6'9", and I'm going to make, Wilder. These guys are meant for each other, man. This is the classic puncher versus the boxer. I love this fight, and I'm excited about it. I'm just like you are. I'm excited about this, baby.
Can't wait to see it. And after all the drama of the night, now the drama is, does the cut heal in time? Can't wait to see this fight, and we will see you there if it happens on schedule. Tremendous night of drama and action in the heavyweight division. The lineal champion, Tyson Fury, retains his distinction. He's still the champ.